Hello and welcome back to Podium Pop. My name is Celine and I'm here with my co-host Gracie. On today's episode, we will be doing a race recap of the Australian Grand Prix because Formula One is back. We're so back, finally. Before we get into the episode, make sure you go follow us on social media. We post quite often on TikTok and on Instagram. We are Podium Pop on both of those. We also post our episodes on Spotify and on YouTube every Monday with sometimes a sporadic extra episode throughout the week. So make sure you're following us on those as well to make sure to get all of the updates. Let's go ahead and pop the bottle and let's get right on into it.
Oh, let's get into it. What a weekend this was.
Oh, Australia, opening race, Oscar's home race, Jack's home race.
Oh. Did it end well for either of them?
It was an interesting weekend.
For sure.
We'll get to that for sure, but let's take me back to Thursday. Media day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Thursday there, Wednesday here, because they're 16 hours ahead of us. Crazy.
It was, so hard keeping up with the time zone.
It was rough.
I was like, how is it, Wednesday night for me, and they're just, already going on, and, truly, I said this on TikTok, I was like, I get it, for sure, I get time zones, but still, it's wild.
It's wild to think about.
Yeah.
But Thursday media day, anything that popped out to you for media day? Oscar did a lot.
Oscar's
he was
doing...
booked.
He was booked and busy. He's probably, I hope he gets a good nap.
He needs a good
nap.
Sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope he's napping at home by himself. Yeah. He needs some alone time, I think.
No, he's with Lily.
Okay, that counts as alone time.
He actually probably has to be flying to China right now, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
It's close, obviously, than, it would be to go somewhere else from Australia, but it's still going to be a ways away.
To be, the first weekend and have a back-to-back race,
yeah,
a doubleheader is okay, let's go, we're back in it. It's kind of it's a lot for us as well.
No, yeah.
To be okay, we're back. We just are processing the Australian race, and now in 3 days, we're going to be keeping an eye on media.
We're going to keep an eye on media. Formula One Academy's going to be there. It's a sprint weekend. There's a lot happening. Yeah. The funniest thing about Media Day was they shoved Lewis, Carlos, and Kimi into a press conference together.
Oh my gosh. Who made the decision for that?
No, they knew what they were doing.
And honestly, they didn't get anything probably that they were wanting out of it.
It wasn't very well.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised. Everyone was friendly, and there wasn't any super awkward questions.
Yeah.
It happened. I've seen two separate occasions from throughout the weekend of Carlos going running into people from Ferrari and being friendly, and it's just it just again kind of breaks my heart. In one video he ran into Sylvia, who does their PR, she's their main PR person.
Yeah.
And they greeted each other, and then another, I almost said episode, another TikTok, really. He was, walking by the Ferrari, hospitality, and, a bunch of the Ferrari workers were hey, Carlos! Aww. He was hey!
I did see someone, this is, jumping ahead a bit. I saw someone was Carlos is so much happier even after DNFing the race.
No, literally.
Than, we saw him sometimes at Ferrari finishing in points.
No, literally. Someone was Williams is, healing him.
No, it is.
And,
truly. And, it's giving Lewis Hamilton the horrors.
Yeah.
Horrors.
Yeah. Yeah, that's rough. So practices.
Yeah, practices. We saw, the McLarens were looking steadily strong the whole time.
We were trying so hard not to get our hopes up, though. It's just the practice. It's just the practice. We were, I personally was really holding out until, qualifying is when I was going to let myself hope.
Yeah.
And I did.
It made me hope for sure.
It made me hoped hard.
I think the biggest thing to note during practice was during free practice 2. Well, there's a few things, actually. But during free practice 2, the Racing Bulls were looking so good. Yuki was running at the top the entire time. Yuki
had an amazing weekend.
It was crazy. And I remember I didn't have to work on Friday, so I stayed up and I, watched it, and it was, 2 a.m. And I was, just at 2 a.m., and I was what is going on with these Racing Bulls? And Isaac was doing so good, too. It was crazy.
Isaac and Yuki... they are doing something in their social media game right now.
They're moving me.
They're moving me really. Like, I'm like, am I a V-Car fan? Like, I am obsessed with them. I root for both of them. Like, Isaac was one of those rookies coming in that I could be like, you know, it's like a take it or leave it. Like, I don't have anything against him, but I'm not, like, I guess, super excited about, you know,
it's
him
not your
joining
main
from
rookie.
Right. But something happened this weekend.
Papa's Orchard.
Papa's Orchard?
Have you seen that meme on Twitter? It's like, so-and-so, I'm so fond of you. It has nothing to do with, like, attraction, but we were once friends at Papa's Orchard.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No, literally, it's like, I really, both of them, like, I feel maternal over both of them.
Absolutely.
Like, whenever, like, when they're sad, I'm sad. When they're happy, I'm happy. I raised them.
Yeah.
I took them and dropped them off at their first day of preschool.
Yeah, their first karting event.
Yeah, like...
I was there.
And I drove them to and from. And now they're in Formula 1 together.
At the ripe age of 14, I was driving them to and from their karting events.
Wait, how much... That's not real. That's crazy. That would have been crazy.
That is not my business.
We're not that much older than Isaac. He's 20-something.
I guess so, but you gotta...
He's like 20-ish.
Yeah, I guess so.
Anyways, we were spiraling a little bit there. But anyways, all that to say, I love V-Carb.
Yeah, for sure.
And I love Yuki, and I love Isaac, and I'm stating it here because I think they're going to do great things. And I want everyone to know that from race 1, I'm supporting them because they're going to do great.
I love that. We need to talk about Ollie.
He had a rough weekend.
Yeah, during free practice 1, awesome. During free practice 1, he was running and he was just like pushing for the lap and he spun out and crashed. It looked so scary at first, and then he got out and was okay and everything. I think like it looked, I mean, the car obviously had significant damage, but it looked worse than I think it was, kind of. And then because of that, he wasn't able to run at all during free practice 2. And literally at the end, the mechanics there were like 2 minutes left. The mechanics were like, get in the car, get in the car, get in the car. And then he's like hopping in the car. And then all of a sudden he's like hopping back out of the car. He just wasn't able to run at all. And then during free practice 3, he got stuck in the gravel. So
whoopsies.
Not a good starting weekend.
Listen, we know what Ollie can do.
Yeah, for sure.
This is his first time driving a Haas.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not. He drove a Haas last year, but this Haas. It's the first. It was a rain race.
Yeah.
We have to give him a little bit of grace there. Yeah. You cannot start calling him Logan Sargent after one race.
You guys, seriously.
Like, give him a second. Logan Sargent took a season and a half to build up that reputation. Maybe a little less than that.
I think it was a little less than that.
Give Ollie more than one race. Yeah. It was a rain race.
Did y'all not watch Jeddah last year?
No,
Did y'all not watch Brazil?
Literally, guys, chill. But yeah, he had a really rough weekend.
Yeah. I think Haas was having a rough time altogether.
Yeah, because Esteban wasn't doing fantastic either.
No, I thought they were going to be a lot stronger coming in than they were.
Yeah, you ranked him pretty high.
I ranked him really high.
Gracie's like, oh, a little nervous.
Yeah, that'll be something we look back on and soon.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else stick out to you from the practice sessions?
No.
Yeah.
Not for me personally.
Let's move on to qualifying.
Let's talk about qualifying.
It was stressful. I always get like, I forget how stressful qualifying really is.
So stressed out.
Because you could make one little error and your lap is fucked. And there's nothing you can do about it. Sometimes, I mean, sometimes you can go again, but most of the time you can't. And your tires, and so many things have to be perfect. You could run into traffic.
You could barely go over the edge and get track limits.
Yeah, like, so many things are out of your control during qualifying.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of factors.
It's just...
Qualifying makes me so nervous.
It makes me sick to my tummy.
I have the utmost confidence in my drivers, but no matter what, I will always be nervous during qualifying.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it could be the perfect conditions, and, I mean, McLaren have the fastest car, and we could have the fastest car, and I'm still going to be nervous, like, no matter what.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. So in Q1, we saw shockingly, well, the most shocking part about Q1 is that Kimi Antonelli got out. Mm-hmm. Which was...
it's shocking. Well, he is a rookie, but he's also in a Mercedes.
That's why it was shocking.
And he was looking really strong during the practice sessions. Yeah. That's why I think it threw a lot of people off.
Mm-hmm. And you know who knocked him out? Tell everyone who knocked him out.
Gabby Bortoleto.
Gabby Bortoleto knocked him out.
Who everyone was really talking a lot of crap about.
Mm-hmm. Helmet.
Mr. Marco.
We, are past the need for Helmet Marco.
Yeah, no, he's not bringing anything to the table anymore.
Nothing.
Let's be honest.
Absolutely
nothing. He needs to go.
He has the... Oh my god. I've never liked him, but I've just been... Even every time a new headline comes out, I'm like, who keeps putting a mic in his face? Seriously, why? Stop.
So, he came out in the media and basically said that he would rank Gabby Bortoleto as a B-tier rookie. B-tier rookie.
Yeah.
And he would rank Jack Doohan as a C-tier rookie. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, Jack and Gabby both made it to Q2.
Who didn't?
Liam Lawson.
Which...
You little fuck.
Celine.
Sorry. I was about Helmet, not about Liam.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm talking to Helmet right now.
Okay.
Oh my
yeah,
god.
That was fine.
Oh my god. I was like, wow, I thought we were on the same page about him.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
imagine me saying that to Liam Lawson.
Liam did have some issues in Q3 where he wasn't able to...
Q1.
I'm sorry. Practice 3.
Okay.
Where he wasn't able to run at all. He, got one lap out and they were like, hey, there's something wrong. Come back in. And Liam was like, can we go? Can we push? And they were like, come into the pits. And then, very quickly, Liam was out of the car. So he didn't get that running for practice 3. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens next weekend. Who knows what's going on with Liam?
I will say, though, it's so interesting because not only does Liam have to prove himself as a Red Bull driver, but he's also got to prove himself against, Yuki. Well, Max Verstappen, that's a whole other story.
I got you.
He has to prove himself between Yuki and Isaac because there could be 1 week where they're just nup, switch out of nowhere.
Sure.
And honestly, other rookies, Gabby has to prove himself against Hulk. Ollie has to prove himself against Esteban. But, he's got, extra... And same with Isaac being a rookie, too, having to prove himself. But there's also, lower expectations for Isaac being in a V-carb than there is for Liam. And Liam has had quite a bit of experience. He was in a V-carb before. So he's not, I guess, a true rookie. But it is a lot to kind of step into and to kind of... And be able to, live up against. And, and if he has... if his next couple of weekends continue as this weekend did, it's not going to be great for him, I think.
Do you think that Red Bull seat is truly cursed, the second seat?
I think that Red Bull makes stupid decisions and puts not the right people in the seats all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
And that causes the seat to be cursed.
Yeah.
Because they're not putting the right people in that seat.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder,
in my opinion...
It's obviously so well tailored to Max's driving style.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
There has to be another person that has the same driving style as him.
Or similar enough that I don't know. It's so crazy.
Yep.
It's insane. I do agree with not putting the right person in the seat though.
They should hold auditions.
I mean, they did.
They should hold open auditions.
The amount of people lining up.
Everyone gets to drive the Red Bull car around the track, 1 lap only, or I guess lowest time wins. You get the Red Bull seat.
Get me in the car. I'll do it. Man. So for back to qualifying, for out in Q1 was Liam Lawson, Kimi Antonelli, both of the Haas, and Nico Hülkenberg. There's probably a chance that Nico would have been the one to move on to Q2, but he did go off into the gravel, and then that's why Gabby made his way there. But still phenomenal.
Very phenomenal.
Cheering for Gabby all the way. And then in Q2, out was Gabby, Lance, Jack, Fernando, and Isaac. So Isaac was the highest qualifying rookie in P11. Good for him.
Great.
And Q3, Ferrari was shocking.
What's
shocking?
You know, if you didn't catch last week's episode, we had Outside Line Media on, and Ryan, our friend Ryan, is one of the hosts on that podcast, and I was talking to him actually this morning, and he's a huge Ferrari fan, and I said, Ryan, are you at all concerned? I straight up, that's the first thing I said to him too. I was like, are you concerned at all about the state of Ferrari? And he's like, no more than usual. I said,
feel like this is
so fair.
Truly business as usual for them.
Yeah. And if I was a Ferrari fan, I'd be very frustrated because I was like, okay, like, this is the turnaround. Like, this is what Ferrari says is going to bring success.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the same. I mean, to be out-qualified by a Williams and a V-Carb, which I think is more due to Williams and V-Carb doing something right,
yes,
rather than Ferrari doing something wrong.
I agree.
But that's still a huge, like, it's insane to think about.
No, it's crazy.
It's crazy town.
It is crazy town. During Q3, obviously we're McLaren fans, so Lando went and put in a good time, and then Oscar kind of was struggling a bit, and then Lando's time got deleted. So we were like, oh my god. And they had only gone one lap, and they went back into the pits. And then everybody, obviously, it's what happens every time. They go out with like 3-ish minutes to get an out lap and then a push lap in. I was actively sweating.
No, it's stressful.
It was so stressful. And then Oscar went and put it on pole, and then...
Which was only for, like, maybe, like, 15 seconds.
Yeah,
but the crowd
went crazy.
Oh,
those videos were so good. I love watching videos like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, Lando went and put it on pole less than 1/10 quicker than him. It was like
But
0.
they were how much quicker than third?
Oh yeah, they were 3/10 ahead of everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 3/10 ahead of Max, who came in third, but Oscar was 0.081 behind Lando's time,
Which is crazy.
No, like there's something sinister and evil about him.
Yeah, and orange.
Heavy into witchcraft.
Sinister, evil, and orange.
So the way that qualifying went, P10 was Carlos Sainz, which for the first time in a Williams and a new team,
I mean,
that's great.
2 Williams into Q3 is, again, like, they would be
like
throwing a freaking party if that happened last year or the year before.
Yeah, absolutely. Or the year before.
Or the year before that, or the year before that.
And then P9 was Pierre Gasly, 8 Lewis Hamilton, 7 Charles Leclerc, 6 Alex Albon, 5 Yuki Tsunoda, 4 George Russell, 3 Max Verstappen, 2 Oscar Piastri, and pole position went to Lando Norris.
Yeah, I mean, shout out Alex and Yuki
Absolutely.
for qualifying in front of a Ferrari. Qualifying 5th and 6th in general is awesome for them.
Yeah.
But to do it in front of the 2 Ferraris, I wish Carlos would have qualified in front of the Ferrari.
I know.
That would have been like, but then again, you can't have the perfect
No, you can't have
story,
your cake and eat it too.
Exactly. Like,
sure.
He was in the top 10, he made it to Q3, and it just would have been it would have been almost too good of a story.
No, it truly was.
Like, the universe knew that we needed to, like, be humbled a little bit.
But, like, low-key, that's coming.
It's coming now.
Williams is looking good.
Ferrari watch. No, Williams is looking really good.
Like, how long do I stay delusional for? Like, when am I going to be punched in the face?
Until proven otherwise. Delusional until proven idiot.
Well, that was hilarious. So, going into this weekend, we always knew that it was going to rain on race day. We knew qualifying was going to be super, super hot, and then it was going to rain on race day. So we were like, literally, what is going to happen? It was raining so much that the F3 and the F2 feature races were canceled. So, like, leading up, we were like, ooh, F3 race got canceled. Race is going to start in 3 hours. And then we were like, ooh, F2 race got canceled. The race is going to start in 2 hours. It was basically just like a... And then, of course, people keep, like, will pop on, like, Twitter or Threads or something, and then are like, heard a rumor that the race is going to be canceled, race is getting delayed, and then, I mean, like, once again, I only trust if Mr. Chris Medlin says anything to me.
Yeah. What race was it last year that kept getting pushed back? Was that Formula 1 or IndyCar?
It was Brazil qualifying.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they had to qualify in the morning of the race.
Yeah.
Don't bring up Brazil 24 ever.
Sorry.
So the race, was able to get underway. And, well, not really, because during the formation lap, Isaac Adjar crashed out.
It was, like, we were with people that weren't super familiar with Formula One. We actually had 3 people watching, majority of them for the first time. And they were like, well, how does he do that? He wasn't even going that fast. Like, what do you mean? And we were like trying to explain to him, and like, it was raining, and he doesn't have a huge amount of experience in this car. And they're like, it blew their mind. They're like, you mean they can't practice? I'm like, well, they had the practice sessions, and they had like the shakedown, and
it's like
they had preseason testing. And he was like, but they just can't practice whatever they want. I'm like, no. He's like, well, what would happen? I'm like, well, they'd get fined or disqualified, a penalty. And he was like, what?
Yeah,
like, they can't practice? Like, it blew his mind. And when you think about it, that is kind of crazy.
No, it's so crazy.
Like, imagine going to, like, LeBron James and being like, you're not allowed to pick up a basketball unless you are being watched on a court in front of, like, judges.
Literally. You get 3 days to
pick up a basketball
to hoop.
Yeah,
and then
crazy.
before the big race, you'll get 3-hour sessions. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely insane. Isaac crashed out. Super, super sad. He was so
Not
upset.
only did he crash out, but he crashed out.
Yeah.
He had a bit of a crash out after the crash
Deserved.
out. Yes.
I crashed
Justified
out. And I
crash
wasn't even
out.
there. Justified crash out.
Sometimes you have to have a JCO.
Yeah,
a justified crash out.
For sure. So then they had to bring, since it was a formation lap, they did an aborted start, and then the teams came back out into the grid to, like, keep the cars cool and stuff.
Yes.
And then the cameras panned to Isaac walking through the paddock. And Anthony Hamilton is just a top-tier human being. He was inside that Ferrari garage, and he said, I know what I need to do right now. And he went out and, like, stopped Isaac.
He said, that little boy needs a papa right now. And I'm going to be that papa.
I actually think he did say that in an interview.
Did he?
Yeah, he was like, I knew it needed to be. Isaac's family was there, but he was like, I knew what he needed right now. He needed, like, a dad.
And for it to be Lewis Hamilton's dad, who
Seriously.
Isaac is, like, famously, like, Isaac does not play it cool with his love of Lewis Hamilton. Like, Kimmy loves Lewis Hamilton and plays it cool most of the time.
Yeah.
He'll talk about it, but he'll play it cool. No, Isaac doesn't he doesn't care.
No.
He's like, I love Lewis Hamilton, and I'm
nuts.
proud. And for it to be Lewis Hamilton's dad that, like, went and was, like, comforting him while he was obviously really upset that his debut Formula One race, he crashed out in the formation lap.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just so sweet. I've watched the video so many times. It's so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just like, it's not even like he was walking around the paddock. Like, they had fully showed him on camera in the Ferrari garage before the race was starting. He left the garage to go out and find him.
Yeah.
Just what a great human being.
Yep.
So then we had the aborted start. I think it took like 10, 15 minutes for it to get cleaned up. And the race begins underway. And I think we're like 3-4 laps in. Jack Doohan crashes.
Eesh, 2 rookies out.
2 rookies out, right?
2 out of 5 already.
In the beginning. So that led to another yellow flag. And while that yellow flag was out, Carlos spun out and hit the wall.
Mm-hmm. So all of these were caused by the rain.
Yeah.
It was, we anticipated that.
Mm-hmm.
We were expecting some crashes. It just kind of was unfortunate that it was, the rookies. And Carlos was new to the Williams car, too. Like, it's these people that aren't as familiar with, aren't as comfortable in their current cars as the ones, the ones that have been in it for years. Like, Max knows how to drive the Red Bull through the rain.
Absolutely.
Lando knows how to drive that McLaren through the rain. But it was just unfortunate that it was the first race of the year and it happened to be a rain race.
Yeah. Okay. So then, that all happens. Everything gets cleaned up. We were under yellow for a while. And the race restarts. And our boys are just running away.
They said, they looked at each other, they said, Lando? And he said, yes, Oscar. And he said, let's go. And they went. And they went, let me tell you.
It's like that video of the guy who's, like, walking with the cops. And then all of a sudden he's, like, looks around real quick. And then he just bolts and runs away.
Yeah, literally.
At one point, we had a 16-second gap to Max Verstappen.
And it felt nice.
To Max Verstappen.
It felt real nice.
Yeah, it felt great. Okay, one thing we are going to talk about is the radio messages from McLaren that everybody's talking about right now.
Yep.
While they were running, we were doing so good. We were coming up to lapped traffic. We were coming up to the Haas. Sorry, Haas. And so Lando was running in first. Oscar was close behind him, but we were coming up to lapped traffic. There is only one dry line of this track. The rest of the track is wet. Oscar was told to hold position until they get through the back markers. And I want to note that if you look at the McLaren like comms app where they're telling them this stuff, it's going to air way before it airs on TV. I think I read it like a good like minute or two before it aired on TV. And which it makes the most sense. You don't want your drivers trying to battle it out for first position in, like, someone's going to have to go off into the wet. They're also trying to pass these lapped cars. They are so far ahead, they are going around them. It just would have been so dangerous. It could have resulted in both of them crashing and DNFing, someone getting hurt. It wasn't necessary. And guys, I'm going to be honest. If you don't get this and you're truly upset with this, it's like,
no,
come on, let's use our brains for a second.
We're the first people to call out McLaren for having bad strategy calls or bad radio messages.
Yeah.
These justified. Completely justified.
Literally in the moment, I was like, yeah, it makes perfect sense. They don't want... And then I'm like, of course it's fucking Twitter. I get on Twitter and I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah, like, oh.
People are like, they're already doing team orders. Race 1 at Oscar's home race. Yeah, guys, hey, they don't want their drivers to get injured or to crash out. Makes perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just my little rant there. Just little discussions. And then Fernando Alonso also did crash the race.
Yeah, Liam Lawson also was not able to finish the race as well.
Yeah, he had spun a bit. Charles had spun, but he recovered. Lots of going off. And
a lot of people were... Lewis was having trouble with the car as well. Lewis was getting frustrated with his race engineer. Oh my god, Charles's race. So Charles's water his drink system must have had like a leak or was spilling or something, because it was like basically filling up his seat with water. And he like puts the radio message in, and the radio message was like, I don't know the exact quote of it, but like was something along the lines of like, hey, like there's water in my seat. I think it's the drink system. And Brian, his race engineer, goes, yeah, I think it's the water. Like, and then Charles was like, yeah, like, wise words, buddy. Like, yeah. It's like, it was giving Will Buxton.
No, it was. Like, that was so funny. I mean, I feel for Charles that's so frustrating. I'd be so pissed off, but it was hilarious.
Yeah, no, it was funny.
Yeah.
So McLaren is going strong. Lando is in first, Oscar's in second, and then the incident happens. We're going to reference this as that.
Yeah, the incident.
So basically, there was a point where Max wasn't too far behind them either. Like, he'd caught up at this point because of I think it was Fernando's crash caused the yellow flag, the safety car. I mean, they bunched together. And so Lando goes off into the gravel, and he recovers quickly. Oscar follows. It must have just been a slick spot. Goes off into the gravel, doesn't recover as quickly, and gets into the grass a bit, and then gets back on the track. They both do at first manage to get back in front of Max, but they weren't able to pick up the speed that they needed. Lando was able to recover and pick up the speed, but while Oscar was accelerating, trying to keep up with Lando and keep Max behind him, he lost his back end and basically slid out into the other side, into the grass.
Yeah, he crossed the track to go to the grass.
And let me tell you, my heart stopped.
It literally stopped. We should also note that this was happening as rain was picking up.
Yes.
So the whole time we're hearing in 2 laps, in 1 lap, they were like, it's going to be class 3 rain. It's literally going to last for 3 laps. Like, you know, then we're hearing this. We're like, what's going to happen? What are these teams going to do? What's going on? And
yeah, there was a lot of unknown strategy during this race because the rain was so unpredictable, and they were like, we don't know when to pit, we don't know what other teams are going to pit, like, we don't know if they're going to put on inters, when they're going to put on inters, should we risk it and keep on the hard and skip this pit stop, is there going to be a safety car that will allow us to do a pit stop? There's so much unknown that, like,
for sure.
That's why rain races are so unpredictable. I mean, a perfect example, sorry to bring up Brazil 2024 again, but is the perfect example. We had 2 Alpines on the podium, and it's because they made the right tire strategy call, and that's what it comes down to with rain races.
Yeah,
it's just as much on the strategy team as it is on the driver being able to keep it on the track.
They like have to think of every possible situation, and they realize that like hey, maybe a red flag's going to come out, or they just, I mean, their tires were probably good in Brazil, and they didn't have to pit yet, and then they were able to switch on to red flag, which, like, that's good for them, honestly.
If I was a Formula 1 driver and I was in the car and rain started coming down, I would literally press my radio button and I'd say, call Ruth!
What is Ruth saying?
What is Ruth saying? What do we do, Ruth?
Our friends, when they were over, we were, like, chatting the whole time. Anytime Ruth came on, I was like, stop talking.
We're like, we gotta listen to Ruth.
I was like, when you see Ruth Buscombe come up on the corner of the TV, you stop talking.
It's silent.
I was like, we are listening to every single word she's saying, and I was like, turn your ears on. I was like, listen to what she's saying.
This is educational.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She is our teacher. She is the professor.
And our friends are, like, sitting there, like, drinking beer and eating pizza, and we're like, listen to Ruth.
Be like, you're treating a little loud. Ruth,
no, literally. Stop chugging.
But yeah, so Oscar slid off into the grass.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, he tried to kind of move forward. He was literally, like, inching back and forth, like, wiggling himself, trying to get out of it. He eventually was able to back up completely and finally rejoin, which the crowd, like, everyone there was rooting for him. So everyone was like, come on, Oscar, come on, like, don't give up. And he finally got it. The crowd went wild. So another great video to watch.
Oh, it's so good. Also, kind of in perspective of this, so Lando had pit for the inters, and he had the inters on, and so he was down a bit, and nobody else really had pit for those inters. We went in a lap early, which that was also, Lando was like, I'm pitting for inters.
Yeah.
And like, the Ferrari stayed out, Max stayed out, so many people stayed out, and we're sitting there, we were like, rain.
Please rain. We're like, because we already pit for inters and nobody else was on inters.
Yeah.
Because, like, Lando put inters on, and then once Oscar did finally rejoin the track, he put on inters too. So we're like, okay, both of our boys have inters on. Nobody else has. Some people did, but most people didn't have inters on. I'm like, so while most people were like, please, we don't want rain, like, we don't, so that it doesn't.
They're like hoping their team gambled right.
We were literally praying for rain.
No, I was screaming out loud. I was like, please rain, please rain, please rain.
We needed to rain. Yeah. So he put on inters.
It rained,
and then, like, a couple laps later, everybody else had inters on by then. Oscar rejoined at 13th because the fact that so many cars crashed out that he was in last. Well, second to last. He was still in front of Ollie because Ollie was a lap down.
Yeah.
But he rejoined in 13th, and he was able to continue making his way up. He had the most beautiful overtake on Lewis Hamilton.
Like, gorgeous.
Like, it was so beautiful. And, like, he went around the outside. He did not give up. He was like, you could tell at this point he was so determined, and he was like, I am not giving up the racing line. I am sticking where I am. And if Lewis Hamilton crashes into me, the 7-time world champion, if he crashes into me, so be it.
So be it.
And Lewis Hamilton didn't crash into him, and he was able to take the overtake. So he ended up in the points. So he was able to finish in 9th.
It's also something to note that if Oscar wasn't able to have got his car out, if he wasn't so determined, a yellow flag would have came out, and the Ferraris and Max all would have gotten a free pit stop.
Which means that, like, Oscar continuing to try to get his car back on track basically, like, helped win McLaren and Lando the race.
Sure. And obviously he was doing it for himself, but just like that
he didn't know it at the time.
No, absolutely not. That unknowing teamwork still just happening. I love this team. I love this team. We didn't even talk about Oscar's contract extension.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
How did we miss that?
Whoa. Guys, this is crazy. He already had a contract.
Till 2026.
Till, the end of 2026. Yeah. And people are joking that this is because in the new season of Drive to Survive, Christian Horner made a comment, and they were like, if you could take anyone from McLaren, like, if you could take Lando or Oscar from McLaren and get them at Red Bull, who would you take? And he said Oscar. And Zach was like, absolutely not. Contract extension till 2030, bitch.
No, Lando and Oscar, they have made jokes this whole weekend. Like, I forget who it was. One of them was like, Lando's like, we're basically going to be here till we're gray. And Oscar's like, yeah, we're going to be here forever.
Yeah. So, and they are.
No, they are.
And like, I love that.
I'm loving this so much.
If they truly are both there until 2030, it's going to be, is it the longest since?
Yeah, they would be the longest teammate pairing since Michael Schumacher and, I don't remember his first name, Barrichello. Barrichello. However it's pronounced. Oh, sorry, guys. We all know I can't pronounce things. If you're like, you should be shocked by this. So obviously we were so excited. I also, like, they were like, it happened, and one news outlet reported and was like, Oscar Piastri's contract extension with McLaren is is coming. And then, like, 2 hours later, when it was finally morning in Australia, it happened. They were like,
Oscar, right before it happened, like maybe like half an hour before,
that's true. I've heard about
Oscar put like a picture on his Instagram story, and was like, have a feeling it's going to be a good day. And everyone was like, this is confirmation.
Yeah, he tweeted it too.
I was like, so excited, but I was like, I don't want to get my hopes up. And then it happened, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I was sitting at work pretending like I wasn't freaking out.
Yeah.
It was good.
Well, also, Gracie texted me while she was at work about it, and she said, rumor is, because Gracie, you're on Twitter more than I am, so she finds, like, here's the rumors before I do. She texted me and said, new rumor out, Oscar is re-signing for McLaren.
I forgot the dash.
She forgot the dash, so she said Oscar's resigning for McLaren, and I was like, what?
I immediately go, no, wait.
She said no, like, re-signing, and I was like, big difference.
No, huge
difference.
And then you were like, oh my God, I was so scared. And I was like, I would not tell you that way if Oscar was leaving.
Yeah.
I would not tell you that way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So back to the race.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, congrats, Oscar. Back to the race. Oscar is able to make it up into the points. He finishes in 9th. The rest of the race, like the last like couple of laps were really, really close between Lando and Max. Like Lando was obviously in first, and he had the, I mean, technically Max had fresher tires on. They were still inters at this point. They just kept the inters on for the rest of the race, but he had fresher tires. And also, like, it was raining. It was still slick. Like, we were worried about, like, Lando could have made any mistakes, and Max would have capitalized on that. It was terrifying.
No, it was so scary. Also, can we talk for a second? After, like, the heavy rain passed, Will coming over the radio and being like, okay, what do we think about the slick tires? And Lando was like, we're not.
Yeah.
We're not thinking about the slick.
And you know what? Good for Lando for, like, being firm with what he wants. Like, definitely helps them with their strategy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like how he was so like, we're putting on inters now. Like, no, we're not putting on slicks. Like, I'm
finishing this race
I'm finishing the race. I'm the one out here. I can hold him off. Like, they're not going to pit either. And they didn't. It was the right call because Red Bull did not pit to take off their inters.
Like, it was 10, you can finish 10 laps in the inters. The track was still wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but Lando did ultimately finish the race, and he won his 5th win. Great way to start the season. Great way for McLaren to start the season. Again, Oscar didn't have the perfect race. That was really out of his control.
Yeah, it was so out of his control.
If he wouldn't have had that moment, I do believe that we would have had a McLaren 1-2.
I think there's a chance Oscar could have won.
There is a chance that Oscar could have won.
Oscar was faster than Lando at certain points.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Can we talk about Kimi Antonelli real quick?
Oh my gosh, that little goat.
He is literally insane. Like we talked about earlier, Kimi got out in Q1 for qualifying. He started 16th, I believe. He finished in 4th place.
Insane.
In 4th place. Yeah, there were a lot of people out, but Kimi had crazy, crazy moves on the track. His overtake, if y'all have not seen his overtake on Alex Albon, like, it's so good. You can just see, like, his onboard. You can just see him going, and then it's like, oh my God, he's gonna, and he perfectly executes it.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was wet. Like, once again, he goes off, the track was drying towards the end of the race. Yeah. But, like, it was still a little wet. He had the utmost confidence. This kid is going far.
This kid is he's doing something.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to watch his year.
Absolutely. Alex Albon was able to finish in 5th.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. When Carlos Sainz, whenever he crashed out, he was out on that strategy pit wall, basically helping call the shots on, okay, like, I was out there, I know what the track feels like. Alex needs to do this. And Alex and James both said that, like, there is a chance that they would not have been as successful without Carlos, on the pit wall helping them.
Yeah.
And that not only gives me hope for McLaren or for Williams and gives me hope for Carlos Sainz, but it also like makes me wonder, like, does Carlos have, after he does eventually retire from Formula One, does he have the potential to go on and be like a team principal?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think if anyone on the grid has the interest to,
it'd be Carlos,
and has the potential to, like both of those needing to happen, I think it would be Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of kind of doing a side note for Carlos Sainz, Team Torque for episode 1 for this season came out, which is the Williams podcast that they have the drivers do every week. And Carlos talked a lot about some of the changes he wants to make as the director of the GPDA, which I'm really interested to see how this season goes with him as the director. Because I think while George is passionate about, like, the rules and passionate about, like, they're passionate in different ways.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good balance.
I think they'll be a really good duo and a really good team to possibly bring some positive changes.
I agree.
For the drivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be good.
So.
One of the things I loved during the Team Torque episode is he was like, karting is so expensive these days. I don't know, like, the single-seaters, like, getting into F4, he was like, it was expensive, him and Alex, like, it was expensive when we were doing it, but now it's just ridiculous. Like, this is so unfair to, you know, these great racers who don't have the money to fund themselves to get through it, or the sponsors to find, and I just loved hearing him talk about that.
Yeah.
Sweet. Love Carlos.
Love Carlos.
Carlos era was, like, back in full force.
Yeah. It's pretty much, it started end of last season, and really held out strong for the full winter break. Mm-hmm. He seems so much more comfortable and more sure of himself.
Yeah, for sure.
And more himself in general.
Yeah.
And he's also just coming off more goofy. Like, they posted another like, media video of them, like, handling, like, snakes and stuff, and it was just a goofy little video. Fun. It was great. It was good entertainment. Williams is doing a fantastic job with their marketing right now with Carlos joining the team. They did good last year too, but
a lot of teams are stepping up their socials this year.
Yeah, so, like, McLaren, please bring back Unboxed.
Please bring back Unboxed.
Bring it back. What's the deal?
We don't want to. Yeah, we don't want to see you in DTS. Say no more. Bring it back Unboxed.
Yep.
DTS is probably really good for them. I truly get it, but, like, I would rather have Unboxed.
Yeah,
okay.
Personally,
I want Unboxed.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read off the race results for the top 10. Lando came in first. Then we had Max in second, and George finished out the podium in third. Right behind him was his teammate Kimi Antonelli. So Mercedes pulled away with great points this weekend, which, you know, makes me nervous, but. Alex Albon was in fifth for Williams. Again, amazing points for them. That is, like, almost all of the points they got last season. They had, 16 points last season? He had 16 points last season.
Yeah.
And he earned 10 points this weekend.
Amazing.
In sixth place was Lance Stroll, which, like, sleeper? Like,
Sleeper.
Where the hell did he come from?
Have you heard his
reaction?
Yes. He was so excited.
His, like, race engineer was, like, trying to, like, still, like, talk him through some things. Yes. Like, make sure, okay, switch to this one. He was like, woohoo, let's go, and you're like, okay, but he's like, but switch to this. He's like, I'm so excited for you, Lance, but you also still gotta do this. Like,
it was like, turn on Delta, do this, and then Lance was like, woo! It was so awesome.
It was really cute. Yeah. And again, like, he was one of those that, like, kind of snuck up on you, you know? So that was great. Nico Hulkenberg came in seventh again, out of nowhere. I guess I don't want to say out of nowhere because so many cars crashed out that, like, you had a really good chance of getting top 10.
For what we thought the Sauber was going to be going into this season,
there's definitely some potential there.
Yeah.
I think through qualifying and through the race.
Ahead of 2 Ferraris.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Crazy. Charles was in 8th. Oscar was in 9th. Lewis was in 10th. And then we'll just finish out the rest because, again, there was only a couple more. Pierre was in 11th. Yuki was in 12th. And Esteban and Ollie finished out in 13th and 14th.
So Kimi and Ollie were the only rookies to
finish the race.
Yeah.
Which, like, if you would probably say, guess 2 rookies that are going to finish their first Formula One race, you probably would have picked those 2 out of the 5. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Yuki had such a fantastic qualifying, such an amazing weekend in general. He did great during the practices, and the race just was not his. It was not his day, and he was so disappointed. Did you see the video of Isaac, like, comforting him, like, patting his back?
There's
killed me.
Also, when Isaac during qualifying, when Isaac got out in Q2, and then, like, he went and sat and watched Yuki's qualifying. Yes, like, that's a
good teammate duo. Yeah. People were so, like, me included, were so unsure of what to expect from Yuki and Isaac as teammates because they're similar in a lot of ways. Very. Like, they're very emotional and passionate, and they, aren't afraid to kind of get a little feisty about when they feel passionate about something. And it was like, okay, how's that going to react? But I think that they're driving really well together, and I think Yuki might unexpectedly be a really good mentor for Isaac.
I think so.
And, like, I should have expected it because I think Yuki's a great driver. I just didn't expect him to take on that role so well, but, you know, we haven't seen, like, proof of it, like, but I think the way that Isaac's handling it, it's either that Yuki is a good mentor or Isaac's just a natural.
Yeah. Could be both. Honestly.
Could be a little bit of both, honestly.
So after the first race of the season, constructor-wise, we have McLaren in first with 27 points. Mercedes right behind them also with 27 points. Red Bull at
18.
Yeah, 18. Sorry, I thought it said 10. Red Bull at 18. Williams at 10. Aston Martin at 8. Kick Sauber at 6 points with only one driver finishing. Okay. And then Ferrari at 7 with 5 points.
Like, Williams being fourth in the Constructors' Cup is crazy.
No. Insane.
Being right behind Red Bull
Yeah.
in the Constructors' Cup. Like, if you would have told Alex Albon that, like, half a year ago, he would have shit his pants.
No, seriously. And, like, we get...
Confirmed.
Truly, it's the first race, but... Like...
It'll be so interesting I really hope that we get a dry race in China. One, because, like, my heart can't handle another wet race in a row. But also, it'll be really... I think, interesting to see where we actually stand and where everyone actually stands. Like, because, yes, Williams, you know, got lucky with some of the cars being out and with the rain and all of that, but they still did really good during your dry qualifying. So, like, I don't want to say, like, it was just due to the rain. Where, like, Alpine last year, like, I don't want to say it was just the rain in Brazil 2024. Again, I'm just referencing a lot because it's the last rain race, a big rain race that we had. But, you know, like, that was... Alpine being on the podium was a rare thing to happen. Really rare to happen. But the fact that Alex Albon was so close to a podium, and he did such a good job in qualifying, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll have a better idea of what to expect next
China
year.
is supposed to be dry.
Good.
I checked the weather, and also it's a sprint race, so we'll see, like, you know, these more points coming in. It's going to be very interesting to see. Yeah,
I can't wait to see where the constructors' standings are this time next week.
Yeah. And then the rest, Alpine, Racing Bulls, and Haas did not score points yet.
Boo.
Yeah. I'm wishing all the best to Haas.
Yeah. Should we do our champagne pops and champagne problems?
Yeah, I was going to say the drivers.
Okay, go for the drivers.
Drivers standing right now. Lando Norris is leading the World Drivers' Championship for the very first time in his career, and also for the first time in over 1,000 days, Max Verstappen is not leading the Drivers' Championship.
That's bonkers.
It's like 1,080 days that Max had led the championship, and now Lando Norris is the one leading.
That just kind of gave me chills.
I know, yeah.
That gave me chills, I think.
So Lando is leading, Max is in second, George third, Kimi fourth, Alex Albon fifth, Lance Stroll sixth, Nico Hülkenberg seventh, Charles 8, Oscar 9, Lewis 10, and then the rest have no points yet.
Yes.
Okay, so for maybe our new listeners, every week or every race week we do a champagne pop, which is a driver who had like a good race, something great happened that week, or champagne problem, which is a driver, we give it to teams sometimes, who had just not so great of a week. And like
not always be their own fault. It could just be circumstances.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not always going to be the winner.
Yeah.
Like, obviously the winner did great, but, you know, we give our flowers to who we think deserve them. So first we're going to start with our champagne pops for the week. Who is your champagne pop?
I'm going to split my champagne pop.
Yeah,
70-30.
Oh, wow.
Okay, 30% of the champagne pop is going to go to Yuki.
Okay.
He had a fantastic qualifying. He had a great weekend all around. 70% of my champagne pop goes to Alex Albon.
I love that. Because
they both did fantastic during qualifying. Alex had a fantastic race. I think that they both felt really comfortable and confident in the car, and you could feel that. And they aren't typically like front runners. So I think for them to have such a successful weekend versus where they were last year.
For sure.
Definitely deserves a champagne pop for me.
I love that.
What about you?
My champagne pop is to Kimi Antonelli.
Another great one.
Yeah. Like we talked about, he got out in Q1 in qualifying, starting P16, and made his way back to P4. Like, right behind his teammate, too.
No, it's crazy.
There was, for a second, we were like, if something goes crazy, Kimmy could be on the podium.
Which, like, imagine getting a podium on your debut race.
Oh my gosh,
like,
I know.
if Kimmy and George would have basically had switched places for whatever reason, it could have been gone down to, like, a pit stop.
Oh, yeah.
That
would have been crazy.
It would have been crazy.
Kimmy is a madman, and I'm just so excited to see his season.
I can't wait to see what he can do in a dry race, too.
I know. Which he also is, like, known for being very, very good at wet races.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Welcome back, Max Verstappen.
Welcome back.
Mm-hmm. Who's your champagne problem?
My champagne problem, I'm going to give it to Haas.
Okay.
Just because the end of last year was looking so strong and, like, that momentum didn't continue in. I feel like a lot of people were thinking they were going to do better than they did. And, like, I'm not too sure what's going on.
Yeah, I want to hope that it is just an off weekend for him. Maybe the track wasn't suited for him. But again, it's just the first race. But, like, I also had higher hopes for them.
Mm-hmm.
With all the sponsors coming in, with Toyota Gazoo joining them,
Mm-hmm.
like, I was anticipating a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do.
It was.
My champagne problem is going to go to Oscar. Okay. And again, it's not, champagne problems aren't necessarily the driver's fault. It's not the team's fault. It's just like a situation that happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that man, he had a lot of champagne problems, specifically in that one moment.
Big champagne problem, yeah.
In that one moment, he had a lot of champagne problems.
Yeah.
And he was so sad after the race, and he is normally really good about channeling and managing his emotions, and like that's kind of what he's known for, is being calm, cool, collected, and being able to think very logically about things. But damn, that had to hurt. Like it hurt him. And in the media, you could definitely tell how disappointed he was, and it just sucks that this was the opening of the season, and he has to wait a whole nother year in order to try to win his home race. I mean, he could try to win Silverstone. That's his team home race, but then he's also competing with Lando for that.
I think, like, this hurts, and it's going to hurt for a while. I think with how well the McLaren is, it's not going to...
It's not going to hurt for long.
Yeah, and it's not going to go away, but it's not going to hurt for long.
Right. I think that the best way to cure his sad state is for him to come out and win China.
Yeah.
And that's my prediction.
Okay.
Do you have any predictions for China?
I think we're going to get a shock and Max is going to win.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen.
No, I don't want it to happen, but also, like...
He's still gonna be competing for wins. It's due.
No, absolutely.
If not now, then when? It's inevitable.
What? People were like, that Red Bull's not gonna be good. Like, everybody. Yeah. And I think it was also a wet race, so we'll have to see in the dry, I guess. Mm-hmm. What is in his bones?
Yeah.
Guys?
No,
he scares me.
If the Red Bull, and I could see actually the Red Bull not being super competitive, but Max still doing really good because it's Max.
Yeah, and because there was the rain factor.
So again, it'll be more...
He also qualified well, though.
He did. That's another thing.
Yeah.
So, but he's also fantastic at qualifying. Like, maybe they typically don't have great race pace, but because it was Max and rain, he still was able to finish in second. I don't know. But regardless, I'm super excited to see what the results are after a dry race. We'll have the sprint race. We'll have Formula One Academy.
There's so much going on next weekend.
Yes, so we are going to be booked and busy. We'll be giving you all updates on our TikTok throughout the weekend, so make sure you go, again, follow us there. We do post reaction videos a lot of the qualifying or the races as well. I'm super excited. The times are going to be rough. It's like a 3 a.m.
Yeah,
3 a.m. race for us. So...
Race and qualifying are at 3 a.m.
3 a.m. is like almost the worst time ever because like if it was like 1 a.m. we would just stay awake for it. And if it was like 5 a.m. we would wake up for it and like stay up for the day. But this is like one of those situations where we wake up, watch the race, and then go back to bed. And like that's crazy.
That's rough.
That's rough.
Yeah, it's really rough. That was our race recap for the Australian Grand Prix. We will be back next week because the Chinese Grand Prix is happening. We have Formula One Academy racing there. It is a sprint race, and then we will have the main Grand Prix. as well as IndyCar is racing at Thermal Club. There is probably a chance we'll do 2 separate episodes for that because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on over in Formula One and Formula Academy, and we're going to just, probably just do 2 separate. So we will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening.
Bye.